Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So before we dive in, our topic today is Google Drive and how to use it. Um, I really love fulfilling on what other people are really interested in, what they're passionate about, what they need. So I want to invite you to have this be a conversation. This is your session today. You can feel free to use the chat, and Loremi and I are going to check the chat. And that way, if I say something and it doesn't make sense, it's not a stupid question. It's probably something everybody wants to ask, but you're the only one who might be willing at that moment. So feel free to ask me anything, interrupt, stop me. But I am going to take you through a couple of slides, and everything else is going to be live. So you can interject anytime. And again, this is your training. I want to fulfill on what you really want to know about. And I want you to walk out of here empowered and even excited. Like, I know I geek out over this stuff, but you could actually possibly get excited about using the Google Drive and what it can do for you. So I am going to share my screen. Now, I know that sometimes Zoom's bandwidth gets a little tight, so we may turn off like video temporarily. If I do that, it's just to keep things moving smoothly, just so that you know. So I'm going to share my presentation with you. I can see Zoom is already giving me some trouble. There we go. It's loading. Sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. It's not allowing me to share, but I promise. Here we go. Okay. Woofa.
If not, I would have jumped in and shared it for you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to toggle over here. Okay, so Google Drive, this is actually something that I train a lot of the women entrepreneurs that who I work with in as well. As you can see, my screen is actually just glitching, so try to ignore that if you can. It has nothing to do with Zoom. What I wanted to do was just start with, what is Google Drive? It's kind of a little bit of an abstract concept, if you will. It's a little hard to understand why would we want to use it and how does it work. So I figured we'd start with that and kind of the definitions, and then we're going to dive in and do some live demo of it working in action. So I figured I'd start with, let me see which way my arrows need to go. So what is the Google Drive? Oh boy. My screen has not done this in a long time. Sorry about that. But basically, it's a file storage system. So you can almost imagine like a filing cabinet, if you will. And it stores up to 15 gigabytes of data in the cloud for free, which you can use to create and store documents. It could be images, videos. I think because my screen is glitching at the moment, would you actually share it from your side? Because you have all my slides, right?
Yep.
Sorry about that. That is actually my device glitching. So I'm gonna, there we go. Good thing I shared those slides last week. Part of every good presentation is your setup and your close. So I spent some time making sure she had everything from her end.
Problem. Just give me some.
Oh yeah, take a second. I also have them here, so I'll just kind of generate that with you. Okay. So the Google Drive, it's an online file storage system. You can store anything, documents, resumes, images, videos, you name it. You can store just about any kind of file type, spreadsheets, and it gives you up to 15 gigabytes, which I will define what a gigabyte of data actually is. And it integrates with other apps, which is really one of the coolest parts of the Google Drive, is all of the integrations that it has. So it integrates with Sheets, which is your spreadsheets like Excel, if you've ever used Microsoft, Docs, just like Word, Google Slides, just like PowerPoint in Microsoft, Gmail, and there's actually a ton more, but we're not going to go into that right now. How it works, what's that?
I have it. I was just looking for, I forgot you sent it as a link. I was looking for the actual attachment. Okay, I'm sharing now.
Everyone's going to get the presentation. I'm sure she'll make sure you get the recording as well. So you'll see the slides too. So how it works is, once you create a Gmail account, you actually have access, whether you know it or not, to the Drive, to YouTube, having your own channel, and all of the other apps. That's how Google works, is Gmail, once you have that account, you now have access to everything else. And this is all right on the slide that says, what is the Google Drive? Perfect. So like I said, you get 15 gigabytes, or some people call it gigs of storage. So a gigabyte is truly just a measurement of data. It's how, in the tech world, it's how you measure the amount of storage you have on things like the computer, your phone. And it literally means 1 billion bytes. So I quantified it. You can have about 5,000 photos or about 15,000 emails. We're still actually on the slide before. I don't know if you changed it or if I did something, but.
Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. Is yours glitching too?
I have no idea what's happening here.
That's so odd. It's the tab right before the one you're in, because everything you're showing will show to us.
This one?
The one that says dress for, yep, and then the slide right before it. Yep, that's the one. Okay, perfect.
I was trying to let people in. Sorry. See, this is great for you to teach me because I can't see how to get people in here anymore. They disappeared.
If you look at the bottom of your screen, you see how it says participants? If you actually click on participants, it pops up for you and no one else.
It went away. I saw it earlier and then it went away.
Because you might be in full screen mode. If you move your mouse, participants should stay right at the bottom. Participants, chat, share screen, record, reactions.
Where are you?
You probably have something in your foreground. That's all it is.
It's okay. Keep going.
You know what you're doing is you're switching the view from speaker to presentation. And we can see that. This is actually a really good view for the presentation.
I know. I'm like, what am I doing? Sorry, guys.
You're pressing on the little squares, which is generally for the host up high, whereas usually for the host, the participant's still at the bottom. Now, for your device, it could be a little different than mine. So every time you switch the view, we can see that.
Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm going to, oh, I see. Okay, so should I just do something like?
Leave the view alone because presentation view is actually ideal.
Okay, okay. I'm just going to move this.
Okay, so any questions about what is the Google Drive? If it still doesn't make sense, I can try to re-explain it again. Sometimes it doesn't make full sense the first time through. So does everyone kind of get what the drive is and what you can put in it, the fact that you need Gmail first to have the drive? How about some nodding or thumbs up? Yes. Whatever works. And by the way, yes, you can put pictures in the drive. I saw your question. Donna, and if I said that wrong, I'm sorry. You can actually store just about any file type you can think of. So pictures from the kids, grandkids, friends, all of those can go into the drive. So the way, when I say connected to Gmail, that's a really good question. Why is it connected to Gmail? That's actually how Google works their products. So think of Google as maybe like an umbrella. And underneath the umbrella, there's all these different apps. And the way that you have access, or the one thing that they all have in common, is through Gmail. Once you initiate a Gmail account, you get access to all of the other apps, mostly for free, like the Drive, Google Keep, YouTube. Hold on, let me try to open up the chat here. It keeps moving around for me, so give me a second. Can I transfer files from Microsoft? Yeah, so anytime you have files, whether it's in a Google Cloud or any other cloud, Microsoft OneDrive is another cloud, you can simply download that data to your computer and upload it to the drive, and I'm actually going to demo how you upload to the Google Drive. I do see that there's some other questions. I'm working on getting my mouse to open up the chat button at the bottom. Are you guys, or here we go.
Oh,
do you
no,
see
I think
questions?
That was the last question, I think. Kiva's question was the last one.
But did I answer all the ones above it?
Yes. Can you put pictures? Can you connect to Gmail, music? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. How secure? So this conversation, we're not going to deep dive on security. In general, Google will tell you It's not the most secure option ever. They don't usually recommend storing passwords and things, but to each their own. Use your own judgment and personal preference, or you can speak with someone who specializes in online security. I don't want to step too much over that because I'm not a specialist in security, but a lot of people run their businesses on it. I can say I do, and I've never had a problem because I back up my drive another way as well. Again, I don't want to confuse or get too deep into something, but I think that can give you a general sense. So we're going to go to the next slide, but keep the chat live. Don't worry. I'm still going to watch for your questions. So a little bit more about like what the cloud is. So storage cloud is like, it's one way of computer storage. It's kind of like you're storing data in an online space. And by the way, in these slides, anything underlined when they share them with you is all clickable. So this actually goes to a deeper dive into another article about clouds if you want a little bit more help understanding it. So it's essentially hosted by, so Google hosts a bunch of clouds or a bunch of online spaces where you can put your storage. Why that's so great is that means anywhere you're logged into your Gmail account, whether it's your phone, your laptop, your desktop, you can access all of the same data live. So if I'm working on your resume, you can watch me working on it live, right from the cloud, right from the Google Drive cloud. A lot of organizations rely on storing data. This is not new. Cloud storage is certainly not new. This is just Google's sort of version of cloud storage, if you will. So this is just a little bit of a, give you a sense of what cloud storage means. Any questions about that at all? I don't want to like get too caught up because even if you don't fully get it, you can still use it, which is like what I think is the exciting thing about technology. Anyone remember floppy disks? I had those in high school.
Yeah.
Right? I would bring them to the library and like print stuff out.
Yes.
So you can.
Do we have to admit it?
Yeah, no, you don't have to admit it. I'm admitting it. I mean, listen, I use them. Thumb drive, floppy disks. Those are all forms of storage. So the cloud is like the same thing. It's just, it's online. You can't see it. So sometimes that makes it feel a little bit funny, but it's one of the most powerful, efficient ways to get things done, whether you're enterprise, entrepreneur, working at a job, looking for a job, super beneficial. Okay, on to the next one. This is gonna be interesting since my computer is just about lost its darn mind. But basically, here's what we're gonna do in our first demo. I'm gonna show you how to get access to the Google Drive. So remember, once you have a Gmail, the quick link is drive.google.com. And for all Google apps, it's usually whatever it is, name of the app, like drive.google.com. So if you're ever in a pinch and you can't quite remember, that's one of the ways you can remember it. And because it's underlined, it's also linked for you when you get the slides. So drive.google.com is how you can access the Drive. Or if you see in that little picture right there that I have on the screen, when you're in Gmail, you may or may not notice in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little tiny box of squares. And if you click it, apps pop up. One of those apps is the Google Drive. It's the triangle. So that's the other way you can kind of like identify it, is by the triangle. So we're gonna go over how to quickly make a doc, make a sheet, upload, like putting a picture in the Drive, and just like basics about how you name your, your different docs and things, maybe how you want to organize it. So I'm going to take another quick attempt here at sharing my screen. So you can stop sharing yours.
Oh, yes.
I know.
I think since I'm making so many mistakes over here.
Listen, this is real life. That's what it's called. So it is all good. Can you see my Drive? Woo-hoo.
Yes.
Yes.
So this demo is live. This is my organization's Google Drive. You are getting real stuff here. So remember how I got here. If you look right here, drive.google.com. That's how I opened up this page. Or I went, oh boy, my mouse is, let me see if I can move this with my hand. Or I went here and I clicked on the dots. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, there's like 9 little dots right there. And then Google Drive is one of the apps that opens. Tons of apps. Okay, so that's how we got here. Now, there's a button on the left. It says New. Lots of options pop up when you press New. So that's one of my first little tips it doesn't say upload. The first thing you have to select is new. And that's how you upload, make a doc, make a sheet, make whatever. So right here, it gives me options. And by the way, under more, there are a lot more options. So don't forget, if you don't see it right away, it's under more. Click Google Doc. That's our first quick demo. Making a doc. I just clicked on it. It's doing this for me. So if you want to build a resume, write anything that you would have normally used Microsoft Word for, if this is how you like to take notes, whatever your purpose, that's how you open up a document from the Google Drive. And then right here it says untitled. Now you can name it any which way you want. If you have maybe you're doing research and you like to categorize your research by topic, this could be like Google Drive topics. Maybe that's one way you want to organize and name your documents. You can name it any way. Here's how I recommend it. Name it the way you think, right? And how you will remember it. So just because I use a certain word or a speaker uses a certain word, if it doesn't relate to you, use the word you would use when you're naming and organizing your documents. I mean, and then the rest of it, if you've ever written in Microsoft, formatting, font, all of the rest of that is almost identical to Microsoft Word. So that's the quick demo for Doc. Anyone want to throw up a question? Yeah, but how about, what if this? Want me to show it again?
I have a silly question. Hopefully it's not too silly. But when you share, right, I've always wondered this. When I'm sharing, let's say if I do have a resume on my Google Docs, right, and I'm sending it over to you, right, I've always wondered, can you edit my resume, or is there a way where I can send it where you're not editing and you're just getting it as a doc, like as a attachment?
So my intention was to go over sharing and permissions as a secondary demo, but I think if you have this question, probably everyone's wondering. So one of my favorite features is that, like I said, this is live. So now I need to share this, or maybe she needs to share this with me, right? You see the blue button in the upper right-hand corner, it says share. Okay, I'm gonna click on this and let me show you the difference. Can everyone still see the pop-up screen? Okay. So they just updated the look of this. So I'm glad we did it this week, because then just a couple weeks ago it was different. See where it says change, where my little mouse is hovering? Okay. Now, I have an organization because I have a special kind of G Suite. We don't need to get into it. It might be slightly different for you. But right here, it actually tells you so do I want to restrict who can see this? Do I want just my company to see this? Or do I want anyone with the link to have access to this? So that's the first level. Second level, viewer, commenter, editor. So if you only want me to be able to see it and not touch one thing, viewer. If you would like my feedback, but you don't want me messing around with your formatting because it's beautiful, commenter. Because then I can leave a comment, track changes in Google Doc. So much easier to read as a comment. Or if you want me to full on edit something, whether it's formatting, wording, whatever, editor. And because it's live, let's say you clicked editor by accident, you can go back in and change it. So the moment you change it, it changes for me live, right in that moment. It's a fail safe, so you really can't mess up. Yeah, that's the good news too. So it's a good point. Like if you just want someone's feedback on your resume, but you're not really wanting them to like change stuff around, commenter. Got it. Yep. And I use this all the time, like I said, in my organization because we do a ton of copywriting. And sometimes I'm acting as the editor-in-chief. I need full access. But sometimes I only need to really give track changes to my writers. So I might just be the commenter. Okay, any other questions come up while we were doing that? You can talk or you can chat, whichever.
Lori, this is Ellen. Could you just go back to the very first menu selection? Did you say that you select new?
Yes, ma'am. I went right here.
Okay. I missed that. Sorry. New and then Google Docs. Okay. Gotcha.
That's the one little thing I notice people get tripped up with is they forget to press new. Okay. And it's not always obvious because you don't think to hit upload when you think to hit new. Doesn't always make sense. Hit new, and all of your different options will come up.
Okay.
Any other question?
Are these documents saved as a doc or as a docx?
Excellent question. Let's find out. So let me open up my doc. You see how there's file, just like Microsoft Word would have? File, see the menu that popped down? So in the Google Drive, they are saved as docs, but you do have options. If you click on File and you click on Download, see how Download gives you more options? You can now download it as a Microsoft Word docs. You could also download, say, your resume as a PDF, which is the most easily viewable type of document for any computer or device. I think that's cool. I know no one's geeking out about it, but when I found this out, I was very excited. So it's cool, right?
That's
so
pretty
now
awesome,
you know,
yeah.
File, download, docs, PDF, or simply keep it in the drive as a doc. Try to convince your circle to use Google with you. It's like a game changer. Just keep pushing them to use Google, and eventually no one's ever going to need docs or any of that other stuff. That way you can do it live. What could be better? I don't know. Okay, any other awesome questions? These are like amazing questions, by the way. I'm so impressed. Not the typical questions I get.
Yes, I have one more question. I'm a little apprehensive sometimes about like sharing my screen. You know, like sometimes you want a company to help troubleshoot, and so you sort of hand over, give them remote access, and you have a lot of sensitive material on your computer. So how is this different? Like, how is ShareView different than like remote? Like,
So let me see if I understand first, and then correct me if I'm wrong. Are you kind of wondering, like, in terms of this blue share, how this is different than like giving someone remote access? Is that what you mean?
right, because this to me is kind of like share view, like when you're working with someone on your resume and you want to work at the same time. And then there's like whiteboard when folks can sort of work together as a team and share, the visual. And then there's remote. I mean, how are they different? Because like you want to be able to, work with someone on a document, but you have maybe some sensitive financial information on your computer. I mean, you can't
I
trust.
get it. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully my answer helps. And please, again, if I'm a little bit off the mark, redirect me. But basically, the good news is the way you share anything in Google is very specific and completely your choice. So if I go here, right, this is my whole Google Drive, right? Now there's sensitive stuff in here. There's organizational stuff. There's stuff I definitely wouldn't need anyone else to see unless I signed an NDA, right? But I'm not sharing any of that with you. Now, I know we're using Zoom and I'm sharing my screen to show you. That's totally different. If I only want, and I'm sorry, your name comes up as Elite Books. What should I be addressing you as?
Kiva.
Kiva. Okay, Kiva.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm like, Elite Books is cool, but I don't think that's right. If I only want Kiva to see one document, just my resume, and not my passwords and my financial stuff, all I do is share that one document with Kiva. So I'll put in her email. I'll just pick one. And then I'm going to say, well, hold on. This says editor. I only want her to view it. I don't need her changing my stuff around. I just want her to see it. Does that make sense? You can pick and choose. Good. And that's actually, I'm glad you said that because people do get nervous, right? There are.
Let me just ask you, do you think that maybe by you sharing something from Google Docs, like they'll have access to your whole Google Drive, like by mistake or something like that? Is that what you're nervous about?
Well, I know there's so many different levels of sharing. I mean,
Yeah.
very few of us have this where we're just you know, a lone wolf with our computer. You know, there's a network admin who, when you're typing in your password, can see it.
Oh, I
There's,
see. Yeah.
you know, the company you bought your computer from, and if something goes wrong, you want them to help troubleshoot. So you just give them remote access. Um, there's
Oh,
this. I mean, there are times when you sort of hand over your, you know,
Mm-hmm.
your computer, your information to people, and you just, I want more control over it. Um,
that
I,
makes sense.
yeah,
I actually thank you for asking her that because the context became clearer to me. When you are working inside of an organization, a lot of the times actually they tend to use Microsoft OneDrive. That's just what I've noticed.
right.
But remember, Gmail is how you get access to all these apps. So the only way they can truly get access to any of your app-based information is by logging into your Gmail, which I'm pretty sure you will never be giving that password to anybody. So you have full control. This belongs to you. And I would actually recommend, like, let's say you do work for a company. Do you have an email that goes along with that position?
Right. Usually it's an Outlook.
Yeah, usually an Outlook. So you
Right.
can either set up a drive that correlates to that and only keep business stuff there, and then have one that's personal, or use Microsoft OneDrive, which is very similar to what I'm showing you anyway.
Yes.
But I actually have different Gmails. Like there are certain things that I keep between my husband and I, and that's in my personal Gmail, my personal drive. Even though I own my own company, I'm still not sharing that document inside my company organization drive. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I have full
Yeah.
control over that.
I understand. I have to, I guess I'm somewhat of a Luddite lately, but my background is legal librarianship. So like if you send my firm a legal document, you know, Wilmer Cutler, we have something called Wilmerizing the document,
Yeah.
where we look at all of your edits. It's like the old reveal codes. We see everything that was changed.
Yes.
And I work with OneDrive, right? And I hope to transfer everything over now using this. Because I know whenever I sign into my Gmail account, even though I say don't save
Yeah.
my profile, it saves it. As soon as I log in, it's right there. There, even though I say don't save. So I'm not really comfortable with what's happening now. And I actually, my Yahoo account has been attacked several times and recently again.
Yahoo is, I would tell everyone switch over to Gmail as soon as you can. Personal opinion, not the truth, but it's what I recommend to people. Now, there is one cool feature I didn't get to yet, but you're going to like this, Kiva. So, in every single document and sheet and all that, can you see where my mouse is where it says last edit 12 minutes ago?
Sure.
You can see every single change, the date, the time, and who made it. So, let's say you gave me edit access to something, but you meant to give me view access and I like messed something up. I deleted something and I cannot figure it out. You can go back to that version because it says in the top version history and you can restore it. You can restore, see who edited, what time, what day. So that's another cool feature that you personally might like. And I don't know if anyone else watching appreciates that feature, but
Awesome. Yeah.
a little bit of a fail safe, like just in case. Or sometimes people will tell me they supplied me data, and maybe they meant to, but I cannot find it. So I can go back through different versions and see if they went and edited or changed something to help me get clearer. Most of the time they didn't, and they just thought they did, you know. Is that cool? I don't know. Do you like that?
Amazing.
Um, you have a few people on the chat over here.
Yes, I see that. Let me scroll down. That's awesome. You're awesome. When you said, can I do it again? I don't know which that is. But if you want to tell me which thing you want me to do again, I'm happy to show you if I missed that. And then the first message, yeah. I think you asked me about that before, Ellen. Going to new, just in case you need to see that.
No, yeah, I put it in the chat before I spoke, so thank you.
Missed it. So I think it's Idana. Idana, did you want me to do something again? When I showed when someone edited, oh, the versions. Okay, here's the thing with like a lot of technology. Things are often gray on white, which means it can be hard to see and hard to find, and it's small. Right where my mouse is, it says last edit was 14 minutes ago, and it's kind of light. I apologize. I don't know why they make these things so minuscule, but when you open that right there, it's actually clickable. Anything underlined is almost always clickable. That's another little bonus. They try to get you with that. I can now see that it says current version over on like the right hand side. And then the last version, which is when I opened it and nothing was there. See how I edited it by typing in a bunch of stuff? It actually highlights it in green and it shows you what was then changed. So this is great when we do a lot of copywriting like websites and blogs and resumes and stuff like that. I can go see who edited this document and what they did. So I can actually compare the versions. Sometimes editors make mistakes and I don't like what they did, so I'll restore it myself to something else. Adana, was that helpful? Is that what you needed? I have my chat open so I can see if you answered. Cool. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna close my doc. You're welcome. And I'm just gonna quick open a sheet, kind of the same thing I wanted to show you. So new, Google Sheets, and now it's doing it for me. Slowly. If I was doing it, it would be faster. That's me. So now this should remind you, if you've ever used Excel, this is going to remind you of Excel. It is almost identical in every which way you can imagine. You can name your spreadsheet. Remember my suggestion, name it how you think. If you like to think in, money, but then you want to do income, or maybe you want to do taxes one way, or expenses one way, however you think, name it like that. Or if you have to manage like a lot of other people's data, name it based on maybe the person or the team name. And then at the very, very bottom, you can name each sheet. So before I get too deep, anybody want to ask anything about that? In general, opening a sheet's pretty simple now because you know how to hit new sheet.
So Lori, if you were to send this sheet to someone and they opened it up in Excel, what would happen?
So I really love, you are all beating me to anything I had in my slides. So share versus send. I'm so glad you said that. They are two different things and they do have two different purposes. So if I wanted to send this as an Excel file, I can do that. Keep in mind, anything that happens in Excel will not be here because it's not being saved in the cloud. It would be then saved on, you know how it usually saves in like your documents folder or something like that? That's called a local server, which is on whoever's computer has it. So it's the same thing. You would go to File, download, and then let the options pop up, choose Excel, and it would open literally in Microsoft Excel on whoever's computer you were sending it to.
Okay.
So if you did send something, I would recommend you send something you absolutely do not want them to need to edit live or expect to get live updates. This is more like, here's a report. I don't need you to do anything. I don't need you to answer me. I don't need you to change it. Look at it and then move on. That might be a great way to use that. But if you want them to be able to view things as you update them, keep live statistics, this is a working sheet, I would share and then make sure they are a viewer if you don't want them to edit.
Okay.
And I personally find this way more efficient because as you know, with spreadsheets, if you've ever worked with one, how many freaking versions are there? It's going to be like 1, 1.1, 1.12, 1.2, and now you don't know who did what. So annoying. You can now make someone an editor and just let them, do whatever they need to do in there. So you have to think about what's the purpose of sending versus sharing. what is more efficient for your cause in that
Okay.
way. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions pop up when I said that? Maybe it didn't make sense. Yeah, but how about, what if?
So basically, someone can edit and share, and it will be saved. But if you send it as an Excel document, then the changes, the edits won't be saved. You won't get that back.
Essentially, what you're saying is right.
Okay.
And the reason that happens is when you share, you're keeping it in the cloud. The cloud is online, so it's always live, it's always updating, it's active. When you download and send it as a Excel file, now it's on their local server. Whatever they do with it is on their server only. You will not see that, which is normal in Excel, right? Whatever you do, you change it, you send it, they have to change it, update it, rename it, send it back.
Yeah.
This mitigates all of that. That's why I like to use, when it comes to Drive, send is different than share. Sharing invites people to have permissions, view, edit, and comment. Sending, it's like a stagnant thing. It goes to their computer, and that's that. It's good to know the difference, especially with sheets. Most of the time, they're working sheets, so I would share. Anything else? So, is this gonna let me scroll? Probably not. I think we pretty much did almost everything I had. Just not, my order was just, you know, a reminder more or less. We talked about versions. My, we are going slow today. Holy guacamole. We'll talk about font and such, making upload. Okay, let's quickly just go over new file upload. So this is when you want to upload usually a single file, a doc, a PDF. So for example, maybe you just paid your water bill and you know how you get the PDF or something like that. File upload, and you want to save it in the drive because now you're saving everything. Select your PDF or your image, and at the bottom, it actually tells you it's uploading. You can rename it. You can, just like it on your desktop, you can do folders, you can organize it. You see my folders, like I have different colors for like podcast versus my workflow training versus my software folder. One's red, yellow, pink, blue. Like, however much you love organizing, you can organize. However much you hate it, don't worry about it. So that was new file upload, and then there's folder upload. What if you have a whole bunch of photos from your superior and they're saying, I need you to just make a new folder and give everybody permission to use it. Folder upload, and then you could have like hundreds, something with like hundreds of photos. This is like an album that I purchased from my favorite artist. I can upload the whole folder at one shot. Makes it very, very easy. Any burning questions?
Lori, how did you change the colors for?
So I did new, and I did folder. It's the top option. So I made my folder new folder, and then that's it. Once you name it, it's live, it's there. And then I went over the folder. Let me just see if my mouse is working. Okay, right click.
Oh yeah.
Change colors.
Rename
Wow.
it.
Oh my gosh.
So much fun. Organizing, I love. I don't know. I get such a kick out of it. So there you have it. Any other questions about uploading? Let's see anything in the chat, I don't think. How do you put files into folders?
Hi, I was calling to see if I can order 2 fish fillet
If you don't mind
sandwiches.
muting, sorry.
Okay, I was calling to get 2 fish fillet sandwiches.
You're on
Is
mute.
it a sandwich?
Wait, can everyone please mute themselves? Let me mute all and then take you off, Lori.
Got it.
Does she?
Cool beans. Okay. So if I wanted to put a file into a folder, okay, that's what we're answering. So there's a couple ways. One way, this is the Google Excel, or this is the Google sheet right here that I made. If I click on it, I can drag and drop it. So I can do it this way. I can just drag and drop it into a folder. Or I can go into, let me see which one I want to open. I'll just open one. Let me think if this makes sense, because there's a couple of ways depending on where you are in your process. I would say dragging and dropping is the fastest. You can also, when you right click, I just right clicked on my mouse, there's an option to move to. You see in the middle of my screen, it says move to. If I click on that, now I can move it to any folder. So maybe I put something in marketing and I was like, oh man, I didn't want that in marketing. I can back out and pick a different folder. So, oh, I meant to put that in my client folder because it's a client document. Move. So drag and drop, or right click and move. Those are like some of the fastest ways. Let's see if that makes sense. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? You're all on mute. You have to unmute yourself or use a chat, just as FYI in case you're talking. So one of the things I'll, what did I put? I think I was going to show you.
Lori,
Yep.
if you open up your Gmail app and you're in your Gmail interface, you just have to select the triangle to access the drive.
Oh.
Is in the upper right-hand corner? Is that where I've seen it before?
Yep. You can either click on those dots and then choose drive. That's one way. Or you can open up a new tab at the very top of your screen.
Yeah.
And just type drive.google.com. It'll, once you start typing, it'll probably auto-populate for you.
Okay. Great.
You're welcome. Okay. And then wait. Oh, I was going to show you. Oh, I know. Here's another quick thing. There is something on the left. You see where it says My Drive? I've highlighted it in blue. If you look down, shared with me. So when I give you permission to view my spreadsheet, it's going to go into your shared with me because Lori shared it with you or someone shared a document with me. So if you ever go to drive.google.com and someone says, I shared the spreadsheet, don't you see it? And you're like, no, that's where it is. It's in shared with me. You have to actually select the option. And if you're on your phone, depending on the different types of phones that there are, it's at the very bottom, shared with me versus my drive. Just so you know, it's a teeny tiny difference, makes a huge difference in what you can see. And just like you said, how do I move a file? You could just drag it and drop it right over to your drive if you want to have it in your drive versus only in shared with me. Totally up to you. Good. Is the silence a good thing? I don't know. Oh, show you what the star does. Okay. On the left-hand side, Karen said, what does star do? Kind of like in Gmail, you can star stuff that's important. Anything I have starred will go to this place, starred. So let me see if you can see it from here. Yeah. If you right-click on a document, starred is an option. It says remove from starred because I'm under my starred folder. So if you want to keep things important or star them, just like in Gmail, you can do that. It's kind of like a organizational thing.
Lori, does the document stay in the folder in the drive, but it's just labeled with a star?
Yep.
Okay, so
It's just for like,
where you had stored it.
yeah, it's a layer of organization that's additional. It doesn't take away from what you've already done.
Okay.
It's just like priority. If you look here at the top left, I can do the same thing. I can right click and make something priority. If I'm like, maybe these are the major spreadsheets I work with every day. It's more or less, if you like that kind of organization, use it. If you don't, forget it exists. It don't matter.
Uh-huh.
The only other thing I just wanted to touch on, sorry if my screen is glitchy. I see that it's glitching. In Docs, oh my. I just wanted to quickly touch on, in case this is helpful, as soon as it loads. Oh my goodness. If I want to change my font, just in case you're not familiar with where these things are located, you have tons of cool font options, bolding, underlining, highlighting. Again, depending on how you want to use these things. I just wanted you to know formatting is very simple, and it's all available right here, right in this bar. Is that helpful? Does anyone need anything with that? It's just,
because it's just like Word. When
it
you
is just like
the Word document, all
yes.
in the same place. Yeah, that's good.
Yep. Okay, so that's, I believe, everything. Naming apps, my drive, logging in. Good grief. Versions, permissions. Was there any other like question or repeat that would be very helpful or useful? Application specific, maybe you have a specific question like, I did this, how do I do this? No? Oh, everyone's on mute, by the way. If you do have a question, unmute or chat.
I'd like to transfer everything from OneDrive to Google Drive. So if I open up Google Drive, there should be instructional. I should be able to figure it out pretty easily.
Well, so you actually already know how to move entire folders into the drive because you can
Right.
rewatch this. Two things to think about. When you do, let me see if it'll let me open this, folder upload. From OneDrive, are you aware if on your desktop OneDrive has a folder? Is there a folder option there?
It does. I have everything in OneDrive.
And but is it like, so if I were you and I hit file upload,
Right.
would I have a quick access? Is that how OneDrive works?
I don't have it on my desktop, but it's certainly I have easy access. I keep it on the bottom of my screen, right above the taskbar. There's
okay. So then if you don't have it there as like a quick access, like Google Drive actually does do that on purpose. They have like a quick access. If you don't, not a problem. What I would probably recommend doing is downloading your files from OneDrive to your desktop or whichever your laptop, and then just folder upload right into your Google Drive. And at the bottom of your screen, it will tell you how long that will take. It could be like an hour. Let's say you have like a ton of stuff. It will track it for you. So you can just walk away and come back and it'll be done. Okay. And then if you want to organize it or like literally however you have it, it should stay within folders and stuff that you already have if you do.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other specific questions or like something you want to do? I'm sorry, my screen is crazy right now. Okay. Cool. So I guess we will stop the share. Here's what I will leave, and I know that what Amy has. Not only will you get the slides, you'll have access via link to these slides. I also want to give you full access to me. I think that having conversations is where people discover things, get excited by things, find out new things. You have I gave you my phone number, email. I tend to be really good with emailing. If you want to keep in touch, have questions, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, I'll follow you back so we can stay in touch. Sometimes I give away like tips and tricks and freebies and videos and stuff. You might appreciate that. But either way, whether you know someone who needs help or you just want to keep talking or have a question, I want you to feel like you have access. Someone who can work with you. Of course. I especially love working with women. I really, really do. Women are my people. All women, all kinds of women. I do work with men too, but I just love women. In the chat. Oh, you're welcome. OneDrive is the same as Google Drive. OneDrive is Office. Yeah, so Microsoft and like the OneDrive, Word, Excel is very similar to Google Drive and Docs and Sheets. Yes. So if you're familiar with one, Alonia, if I said it wrong, I'm sorry, was saying that, totally true. And most of the applications, whether it's functions in a sheet or, you know, font, whatever the case, almost identical. Anything else? Any other like specific questions? Any general questions? If you want to know anything about me.
Your business is interesting. Your services, it's very original.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I actually built a marketing automation platform for people who work for themselves who don't have a lot of money, because that was me and I didn't have anything. So I built one because I don't know if like I'm a little bit crazy, but like in a good way kind of thing. And I love training people. I've been a martial arts instructor for over 20 years. That's actually my more formal background in terms of my training as a leader, as an owner, as an instructor. And I think that's probably where I just fell in love with the moment that other person's light bulb goes on. It's like, oh, live for these moments. So I do small group training as well, where we'll have a group of women come on from their different computers, all remote, and then we'll pick a topic and we will go. Facebook 101, I've helped people with LinkedIn, resume, finding jobs, finding people, you name it. Anything else? Any like, I have a question, but I really don't want to ask it.
Anyone else? Someone has to have a question.
I feel like there's a burning question left, and it's not a stupid question. I will never let you think it was a stupid question.
This is very proprietary. It reminds me of Microsoft. And I know like companies, everybody's using Microsoft. Is it worth learning this and thinking that you can actually work with teams and companies if everybody's using Microsoft?
Well, it's good to know anyway, because there are many organizations that are working with both, or work with the Drive in one way and then one, like Google Drive in one way, OneDrive in another. It's not even that different. That's also the good news. Like if you're learning about OneDrive, almost everything in Google Drive is identical, almost, down to the function, down to the sharing and everything. I wouldn't see it as a waste.
Okay.
I really wouldn't, especially if you want to use it for your own family, or maybe you have a side hustle, or whatever the purpose is. You get, like you said, more control and ownership of it outside of an organization. So, you know, you have Elite Books. Maybe you're writing a book. I mean, use Google Drive for that.
I've got so much going on. I mean, I'll have like 25 tabs in just one window and 3 windows open. And I don't have a license to use Microsoft, so I'm looking for something different. I mean, I can use the Drive, but it's, you know,
We use Google Drive in that specific application, and that's my opinion. And it's also based on me building my whole company around it. So I can speak from experience. If that's what you're trying to do, yeah, I think Google Drive would be great for you. And you're one of mine. If you say you have like 25 tabs open, you are in my circle.
So do I. Oh God.
Lori, you said that you back up your Google Drive.
Yes.
What do you back it up on?
I back it up on a hard drive, a physical hard drive that I connect to my computer. It has a terabyte of storage.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have Google Drive because I use Word a lot. And I saw the apps and I said, so now you got me interested in going into it, because I didn't never knew it does so much, because I see the apps and I saw the calendar and this, that, and everything. So now, because I like to know everything, learn everything.
I'll have to, I also have 2 really awesome freebies. I built them myself. One is an entire set of free tools, whether it's for marketing, building your own little email signature for your, Gmail or Outlook. I'll give that to Loremi. And I have what I call workflow, which is a way that I set up my Google Calendar, another freebie. So I'm going to give her all the links, and you guys are going to get all the stuff. And anytime you have a question about it, use me as a liaison or a resource, because if I can't help, I probably know someone who can help you. And my intention is to continue to keep people curious. So Roxanne, you were like, now I'm thinking about it, you know?
Yeah, because I like.
I lifted the veil. It's not so scary. Now you can jump in.
Okay.
Awesome.
And it's free.
It's free.
And it's free. I love
Like
free
the best
stuff.
way. Yeah.
Free.
My whole guide is all free tools, by the way. I'm like, frugality to me is an adventure. I will find everything I can for you for free or super affordable. And everyone who said something in the chat, thank you. A lot of thank yous. A lot of this was great. I got the acknowledgement. I appreciate that. I'm glad you got something out of this. That was my whole intention. And, you know, if you want to reach out, I don't know if you want to provide her feedback, whether anonymously or not, but if you think of topics that are similar or in the tech sort of realm or how to use LinkedIn or anything like that, I would love to come back and do that for you.
That's awesome. That'll be great.
Yep.
So you guys can write that down, I guess. They're updating the survey, but when they send that survey after the email, write that down if you're thinking of anything else technology-wise.
Okay.
And Denise wants to know, what about Google Suite? The G Suite, email me. You're going to have my email. I don't want to, because we're already over and I want to honor everyone's time. Happy to chat. I use G Suite. Happy to chat.
Awesome.
Okay. We done?
Yes, we're done. If anyone else has any quick question, but if not, we're completely done. But like Lori said, you have her email right there.
Yep.
As well as I'm going to be sharing everything she's going to send over to me. And then anything new you guys want to learn that we haven't yet, it'll be awesome to send it over to Lori and see if she can host another webinar. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
I'll also give you the link to, I belong to another organization for women, and I'm doing a couple of tech talks there throughout I actually do one every single month, but the ones throughout the summer will also cover Google Drive and some other things. So I'll give you the link for that in case you want another women's network that's totally remote right now.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. And then I can share the link so anyone can join those webinars.
Okay.
For right now, yes, they're keeping guests free. I think they're changing their guest policies.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what that exactly entails, but
Got it.
I love the organization. So I'm just going to give you like anything I can think of. I'm just going to link it, and I want you to share it with everyone.
Awesome.
Lori, what's the name of that other group?
Believe, Inspire, Grow.
What is it?
Believe, Inspire, Grow. It's like big.
Oh, wow.
Inspire, Grow.
Okay.
It's a women's organization. Every kind of woman, whether you're between jobs, professional, business owner, whatever, everybody is in that group. And they're talking about relationships, technology, everything, not just business. I actually made some really, really good friends. And that's who called me up and told me about Loremi and what she was looking for. Was another.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. So much thanks. I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Lori. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This was very informative. And thank you, everyone, for joining us again. I will send that information over once I get it from Lori. And then if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to her and follow her on LinkedIn, Instagram, and all those places like she mentioned. She's always posting different things.
Great. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good day. Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye. Have a good night.